Hello and welcome to this special post-summit edition of A Closer Look. I'm your host, April Sands-Smith. We're coming to you just after the 2025 Energy Summit, where government leaders, industry experts, and global partners came together to chart the path toward a cleaner and more resilient energy future for the Bahamas. Today, we're breaking down what those discussions really mean, from new renewable energy projects and grid upgrades to the policies designed to make power more affordable and reliable for everyone. A little later in the show, I'll be speaking with the Minister of Energy and Transport, JoBeth Colby-Davis, for an in-depth look at the major takeaways from the summit and what Bahamians can expect next. All of that and more is coming up. A Closer Look returns right after this break.
A memorable stay isn't made in a single night. It's shaped in the details. Every sound, every glance, every touch. Where you're not just welcomed, but understood. Where time slows and every comfort feels effortless. Whether it's the shimmer of the pool, the quiet of a suite, or the taste that lingers long after dinner, each moment becomes a part of your story. British Colonial, where legacy meets luxury. Stay for what it means to you.
Welcome back. Across the Bahamas, the push to modernize our aging power grid is becoming more urgent as communities continue to feel the strain of outdated infrastructure, rising energy costs, and the realities of living across 17 island districts. Tonight, we take a closer look at how innovation, private sector partnerships, and major upgrades like the shift to LNG, new solar installations in schools, and a long-term $230 million grid modernization agreement are reshaping the country's energy future without raising taxes for Bahamians. We hear from ACL correspondent Krishna Russell.
For years, outdated equipment, the rising cost of fuel, and extreme weather have strained the power grid in the Bahamas. But now, a major push is underway to modernize how we generate electricity in this country.
Through the years, the national energy debt has skyrocketed, coupled with aging and inoperable equipment. According to the Minister of Energy and Transport, JoBeth Colby-Davis, the situation was dire just a few years ago.
When we came into government, we assessed that the current debt for BPL was about $500 million. And on top of that, it would have taken another $500 million for us to do the modernization and the transformation that we would have need done in BPL. They're very old and outdated. And so that is a concern. That was a concern to us. And that was also why we thought we would have needed partners, because of the cost and the time to be able to improve the sector and produce that reliable and efficient service. Additionally, our transmission and distribution system needed a complete overhaul. What that means is our transmission lines were built many, many years ago. They were in place many years ago for a growing Bahamas. We've already exceeded what they prepared for. So the growth that they had intended to see in the Bahamas those years ago when they put those lines in, we've already exceeded that growth.
Looking ahead, the minister said Bahamas Power and Light is well on the way to a more sustainable future.
The Prime Minister would like to see a system that is affordable, reliable, resilient, and sustainable for future generations.
Through innovation and connectivity, our energy future looks bright. For a closer look, I'm Krishna Russell. Back to you on the desk.
Thank you, Krishna. As the Bahamas continues making strides towards a new energy era, the 2025 Energy Summit offered a full snapshot of the ideas, innovations, and young leaders shaping the country's future, from renewable project updates to dynamic youth energy zone, under the theme Shaping a Sustainable Energy Future Through People, Power, and Partnerships. We learn more about this event from ACL correspondent Aaron Scavello.
The Energy Summit 2025 marks a major milestone in our nation's transition to a new energy era, bringing together key stakeholders in the energy sector, all under one roof. Under the theme Shaping a Sustainable Energy Future Through People Power and Partnerships, the day began with a powerful opening ceremony, setting the tone for a summit focused on rebuilding, reimagining, and re-engineering the country's energy landscape.
Across our islands, progress is gaining strength. We now have multiple power purchase agreements signed, unlocking renewable projects that will reduce our dependence on imported fuel. And we're introducing new LNG solutions for New Providence, guided by strict regulation and safety standards to improve reliability and reduce costs.
My vision of a sustainable energy future is driven by three conditions: reliability and security, affordability, and low carbon. Energy must be reliable and secure, such that homes and businesses and public services can rely on it being there morning, noon, and night.
Delegates also viewed presentations and received updates of grid improvements and renewable energy projects throughout the archipelago.
I think the most important energy improvement we have right now is execution of the current plan. I think the government has outlaid a very concise and thoughtful plan. They've developed good partnerships with private companies.
A major highlight, the Youth Energy Zone, shared their vision for a cleaner, smarter Bahamas.
I think that youth have so much innovative ideas and they need to be in the rooms to be heard and to be seen and to have those ideas actioned upon. So that's the big thing, having youth in those spaces.
We'll continue to follow the ideas and commitments coming out of this year's Energy Summit 2025 as the Bahamas charts its course towards a cleaner, more secure energy future. Reporting for a closer look, I'm Erin Scavella.
Stay with us. There's more of a closer look after this.
Sonny, what you doing unplugging in all these wires around the house?
The lot ain't supposed to work if they ain't plug in.
If you keep plugging in all these stuff, the breaker can trip.
But you know about breaker. Ain't nothing to trip.
See, and I tell you?
Unplug some of your devices. Your breaker and your bill will thank you later.
Welcome back. As the Bahamas pushes forward on renewable energy and a more sustainable future, a new generation is stepping into the spotlight. Today, young Bahamians aren't just learning about the energy transition, they're preparing to lead it. To show us how students from across the country are being empowered as innovators and future decision makers, we turn now to Larissa Lundy.
Today, students across New Providence and Grand Bahama are here to take a seat at the table, a national conversation about energy and the future that belongs to them.
Events like the Ministry of Energy and Transport's National Energy Summit and INTI Corp's Future Leaders Forum are giving students real access, spaces where they can learn, ask questions, and begin to understand where they fit in the energy sector.
I really enjoyed today. I was so happy to get this opportunity to be able to come here and learn more about the solar energy and what we can do to help the Bahamas.
Across these rooms, you can feel it. Young people not only learning about our new energy era, but stepping into it. They're sharing ideas, exploring entrepreneurship, and showing on the national stage that they're ready to help shape what comes next.
The biggest takeaway that I want persons to walk away from the panel is just understanding that everyone has a say, everyone has a voice, everyone is able to actually make small changes that add up to big changes. And over time, we started off with our electric cars driving 1 mile at a time. And I did a quick check before I came in here. Combined, we've done 250,000 miles, 250,000 miles, saving 100 metric tons.
And they're not alone. Industry partners and stakeholders are leaning in, appointing youth ambassadors and inviting young voices deeper into the conversation. These moments remind us how vital youth perspectives and their innovative ideas truly are.
For me, it is crucial, important, and necessary for youth to be included in conversations like these from conception. Having youth at the table encourages community involvement, ensuring that all voices at every level is incorporated into planning. So youth not only feel like stakeholders in the conversation, but not an afterthought in a future that they will inherit.
From the Prime Minister to international partners, the message is clear. The future of energy depends on young people who are ready to power tomorrow. Reporting for A Closer Look, I'm Larissa Lundy. Back to you on the desk.
Thank you, Larissa. Energy remains one of the most talked about issues across the Bahamas, from rising costs to reliability and the growing push toward renewable power. As the country explores new technologies and long-term solutions, many Bahamians are asking what the future of energy could look like. For a closer look on the go, we turn now to Marco Bain.
Across the Bahamas, the conversation around energy is shifting, from rising fuel costs to new renewable technologies and a push towards a more resilient grid. Today, we're exploring what Bahamians and industry voices are saying about the country's energy future and what changes they expect in the years ahead. For many families and businesses, energy touches nearly every part of daily life, from electricity bills to hurricane preparedness and long-term sustainability. As national plans evolve to incorporate more solar power, microgrids, and resilient infrastructure, the public is paying closer attention to how these changes will impact them.
The most important energy improvement the country needs is really integrating more renewable energy options into our energy mix.
Sustainable transportation. When we think about electric vehicles, electric buses, making sure that transportation is reliable and not increasing our carbon footprint as a country.
New technologies, including smarter grids and more resilient infrastructure, are shaping expectations for a more modern energy landscape. Across the sector, there's growing agreement that placing renewables closer to the communities they serve could strengthen reliability and reduce long-term dependence on imported fuels.
The technology that we're implementing on our grid is up-to-date technology. The energy sector always is changing, it's evolving, but we are keeping up with the times.
As energy expands, the Bahamian people will start to see a reduction slowly over time with their bills. So just be patient, we're getting there, but it's a collaborative effort across the board.
The Bahamas continues its transition towards a new energy era, and Bahamians are thinking more critically than ever about a greener future. As technology advances and conversations continue to happen, expectations continue to rise for cleaner, more efficient, and more reliable energy across the islands. For a closer look on the go, I'm Marco Bain.
Stay with us. More of A Closer Look after this.
Good day, my name is Errol Farquharson and I am the CEO of EA Energy Limited. Our projects for EA Energy are located on Abaco and Eleuthera. In Abaco, we are located in Wilson City, and in Eleuthera, we're located in Hatchet Bay. We actually completed the land clearing on both of the locations, and we've also in the process right now of finalizing our main contracts with our EPC supplier, which will be done in November. The current estimated timeline for completion of the projects is in 2 phases. The first phase, which is the completion of the solar panel installation, will be in the 3rd quarter of 2026. And the overall completion of the projects will be in the first quarter of 2027. So other than that, we do look forward to providing a stable and reliable source of power to the islands that will be able to benefit all of the residents and businesses.
Welcome back. We are here at A Closer Look. And of course, I'm your host, April Sand-Smith, and we are here yet again with the lady of the hour, the Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis, the Minister of Energy and Transport. Now that it's sort of all said and done, how do you feel right now, knowing that we wrapped up the second year of Energy Summit?
I feel so honored and privileged just to be able to lead another successful and transformative energy summit. And I want to say that this year really, it topped it off in terms of what we've achieved, what we're doing, and where we're looking to go in our country with energy transformation. So I'm excited about what's to come because this year was just amazing.
It was. And you know what? I would agree with that. Everyone who sat in this chair today has really spoken to just this year being almost like our feet are really in the ground.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I would agree with that. Absolutely. Tell me about what you would like for persons to take from this year's Energy Summit.
I want them to see the Bahamas on a larger scale, on a larger stage. I want them to see the Bahamas as a country that is leading in the region. We are doing transformation to our transmission and distribution, and we will be leading. We're well on our way. We've heard from our vendors who are taking part in the renewable sector, and we will be achieving 32% by 2030. And so that's going to be exciting to see. We've heard of our young people taking part in the conversation, focusing on how they can contribute to policy transformation in our country related to climate change. And so it's been an amazing energy summit. It's been a good day to hear from what is happening, and I'm looking forward to what's to come. But I want people to see that we are doing what we must do. We're doing the real work to transform this sector, and we're not gatekeeping, as the young people say. We're showcasing at every step of the way because we want the Bahamian public to continue on this journey with us. Last year, I told them to join me on the journey, and so this year we're continuing on this energy transformation journey, and we're leading them to a better, more improved, reliable, resilient, and affordable energy sector.
And this really was a thoughtful, planned summit. The integration of the young persons, as you would have mentioned, and the integration of more vendors being internationally based. And then, of course, locally, we spoke to the Grand Bahama Power Company that was so excited to be here. But talk about how and why it was so important for the young people to be a part of this, not just in the room, but even playing a role all throughout this entire summit.
It was important for us to have a youth energy zone simply because these are the future leaders of tomorrow, right? We need them to buy in to the transformation that is happening today because they're going to have to at some point step in and continue to lead and take over. And there's a lot of careers in this sector that they could begin to think on, plan towards. Many of them that were here, they're in high school now. Some of them are in their senior years. And so they're at the place where they're making the decision, the final decision of what I'm going to do when I go to college or university. And so you want to make sure that they understand that this is a sector to get involved into. Don't run away from it. It's not difficult. I did law. And I went into the energy sector by doing a master's in energy law and policy. So there, every aspect of the energy sector, you can find a career for you. You don't have to be an engineer, but it's a plus if you are, especially the females. We need more female engineers.
Speak to that. Speak to
I mean,
those different career paths.
It's engineering. It's also our technical. It's also IT, because AI is now taking part in the energy sector. It's also the researchers, so our scientists. It's also construction, because we gotta build out for our poles, construct our poles. We have our linesmen. They're the one that connect all of the lines, distribution, the transmission lines. And then we have our administrative. You have customer service. You have the people that speak to our consumers. You have the meter readers. You have the people that set up the meters. Then you have the renewable sector. So now we're building out renewables. So it's such a vast sector that just have so many avenues. You have the legal, you have the HR, you have policy, you have environmentalists. Everything you can think of is a part of the energy sector. And that's what we needed the young people to see and understand, so that no one could say, well, there's not a place for me. There's a place for anyone that want to be involved in the energy sector, and getting to the young people at this stage is important so that they can begin to plan their future.
Agreed. And speaking of the future, that's exactly why these conversations are so important. And then careers that are probably not even known yet, that we'll be able to also have, a gateway to. I'd love to know also from you, what is your most exciting project that you feel is leading the energy sector right now that you've been able to be a part of? Or maybe what's most exciting for maybe the public to look forward to?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because we just signed at this Energy Summit, IDB and BPL signed a loan for us to modernize and digitize our meter system. And so it's advanced metering systems that we will be bringing on to BPL, and that's going to allow people to be able to see their usage as the month or the days in that month pass. Also, they could begin to control how much they determine they wish to spend within that month. They can say, I want to prepay and top up just for me to spend on my electricity bill, $300 a month. And so it will help our consumers to conserve energy, because when they look at their meter and they see, hey, you're getting close to your quota, then they're going to say, okay, turn off that light, turn off, don't do that, so I think that is going to be the most exciting project for me, and that's going to help us transform the minds of our consumers and how they become partners in the energy sector, because now they're going to be taking part in partnering with us without even knowing in their homes.
Absolutely. Can I say that I'm excited about that too? And I'm just learning.
Look, I'm excited about that, because my husband always yelling about leaving the light on. So I'm excited about that too. So I can say, look, sir, go and check and see what the meter is saying.
Like you said, it's really that building the gap part of it, where we get to now know, even on a daily basis, what energy means.
And what you're using. You can track it yourself, and having that connection. Even with the outages, though, this system also allows people to see the outage as soon as it happens. So, sometimes there's an outage in the area, and then you get them restored, power restored, and then you realize there's 3 or 4 homes that are calling saying my light is still out, because it may be a particular fault that's just in that area. So now they don't have to wait, because they will be able to see when we restore, there's still those 4 that's out. So let's go there and check that right away, because something is happening.
And I think that really falls under the line of innovation.
Yeah.
Just being able to translate and transform the way we get to now communicate.
Correct.
I love that.
And speaking directly with your utility company, it's going to be even more amazing, because it builds you a relationship with them. You could always say, you know what, I sent them a note, I reached out, and they were here right away. And so I think that's going to be important for our future.
That's awesome. Now, Minister, I know that we have a while before we can get over those challenges of how we can progress. We have climatic challenges, geographical challenges, but there has been already steps that have been made from this administration, from your ministry. Talk about the importance of switching over to that popular, liquefied, natural gas. Please.
So that was one of the things that I would say I'm most proud of, because when you start to see a country talk about LNG in their fuel mix, that means they are well on their way transitioning from relying so heavily on what's easy, the HFO, the heavy fuel oil, the ADO, the diesel oil. This is easy to rely on because that's the old system, and so you always can go and get those generators from anywhere, and then you could find that fuel from anywhere. So that's easy. When you go to LNG, that takes a huge lift, right? Because you have to have an LNG terminal. You have to be able to process to LNG and process it so that it can be utilized in the generators to then transform into producing energy and sending it powering through our transmission and distribution system. That's a lot of work. That's not an easy task. And so once you're already talking about that, so it starts with a conversation, but then we went further in this administration. We actually did legislation to allow us to regulate and manage the sector and allow BPL to open themselves up to advancing themselves in that sector on a larger scale. And then we formed a partnership where we have private partners that's going to be producing energy and selling it to BPL from the LNG, and it's only going to be based on our usage. So we no longer have to go and pre-buy a bunch of fuel and say because we may need it. They're going to be producing the power. They're called power purchase producers. And once they produce it, if we use it, we have to pay. If we don't use it, we don't have a cost. So all of that is what's making a difference in how we have advanced our relationships, our partnerships, and the way we do business with our utility company.
Now that is, and we talked about those challenges, but then when you can say, and I know there are more solutions than just LNG, but that LNG, you're correct, the conversation of that already provides so much solution based. And you know what, Minister, on that note, we are so happy to have you here. We're so excited to have been here at the second year. And like some of our guests had said earlier, we're looking forward to next year.
Yeah, next year is going to be the bomb.
Wait till next year. And guess what, on that note, thank you so much to our viewers who have stayed with us. We are going to be right back with more of a closer look right after this. As we wrap up this post-summit edition of A Closer Look, one thing is clear. The Bahamas is taking real, measurable steps toward a cleaner, stronger, and more resilient energy future. From new renewable projects to long-term grid upgrades, meaningful partnerships, and policies focused on people first. Today's choices are shaping a greener tomorrow for all of us. A special thank you to our guests and everyone working behind the scenes to push our nation forward. Be sure to follow us on social media by searching A Closer Look. And remember, you can catch us right here on Channel 212 Cable Bahamas and streaming live to our Facebook and YouTube pages. Until next time, I'm your host, April Sands Smith. Good night, Bahamas.